Greetings, YouTube. This is Longbow. I've made something kind of crazy. Say hello to my little friend. This is what I call the Slingblade. As you can see, it's a nice sturdy Y-shaped steel slingshot, but the ends of it protrude a fair amount, and they're sharpened to quite a harsh degree. Then I tempered it. The bands are held on by these two hinges here, giving it kind of a steampunk look, and they're secured with these bolts that I've sharpened to points. And to attach them, you just twist these little knobs here, and that tightens up your bands. The handle, of course, is made of a nice piece of ebony with some brass rivets. Whoa! And I've got a heavy-duty pallet band here to fire projectiles. Before I do that, let's see if it passes the sharpness test. Seems to work pretty well to me. Another thing I want to see is, can it pass the zucchini test? Apparently. But ultimately, its worth is rated by how well it works as a slingshot. So we'll fire a couple shots. But its stabbing function is also quite useful. I like it. It's nice and true. It's probably a little target practice. Oh, you're still recording. So what I'm firing are these nice little 12mm glass marbles. And I'm, of course, shooting some beers. Nice. Seems as though these might not have enough mass. Let's try that again. There, 5 more new targets. I can't get enough of smashing these things. These things are so light that sometimes they don't even break them, even though they score a direct hit. I've actually seen them hit the bottles and the marbles break except the bottle. try something a little bigger. So with these thick, heavy bands, I can also shoot these 20mm steel balls. So we'll see how that works. These ones just fit in the pouch. Back off, bee. Fucking cut you. You can see there's a little bit more power behind these things. So close. Well, thanks for watching the shooting and demonstration process. If you'd like to see how this puppy is made, feel free to stick around, because I've got the instructional how-to coming up next. Anyway, if not, cheers, thanks for watching. Stick around! So, basically, here's how this thing started out. I've got this long piece of steel here. It's, let's see, what are the dimensions? We've got 1/8 of an inch by 1.5 inches by 36 inches. And I've divided it into 3 sections. Right here, you can see section 1. Got a 10-meter section here, 5-centimeter section, and a 15-centimeter section. That'll be 1 fork in the handle. We've got another identical section here, 10 centimeters, 5 centimeters, 15 centimeters, and a third section here at 2.5 centimeters, 5 centimeters, 5 centimeters, and 2.5. That will be the joint between the 2 forks. This 15-centimeter length will be a fork, as will this one. This will be the handle, as will this. The next component is this brass rod here, which is going to help secure the ebony handle onto it. It's just a nice black kind of wood, very hard. And I've got these 2 little brass pins here, or bolts, and some little threaded knobs. They're going to be used to secure these hinges onto it, which are how it's attached, of course. And finally, I've got a couple adhesives here in the form of silver and cyanoacrylate glue and fire. So, first step is to cut out the 3 pieces of steel. So now here they are after I've cut them out using my trusty hacksaw here. And my next step is going to be cutting out the profile of the blade tips. So I know this is 1 1/2 inches long, so I'll just divide the tip into 2/3 here, making a mark at the 1-inch point, and not the table. And now I'll just take this handy dandy CD cover, and I'll put it on here, lining up the top so that it's tangent with this edge, and the other side so that it intersects the 2/3 point. That's one side of the blade. And I'll just set it up so that this line here is perpendicular to this edge. And there's the other side of the blade. So it'll have a nice survival knife-esque type point on it. And also, I'm going to drill 2 small holes in the handle portion. So let's see, we got 10 centimeters long, so I'll put one at the 3 centimeter mark and the 6 centimeter mark. Oh wait, I'll go down 3 centimeters. So one at the 7 and one at the 3. I'll make sure they're centered, of course. So that would be 3/4 of an inch would be the halfway point. So that's where one hole is going to be. And there. And those holes will be where this brass rod fits into. That'll help to secure the handle to the blades here. So now I'm ready to drill the first 2 holes here, and just to ensure that all the holes in both sheets of metal and the ebony line up, I've taped them together so that they can't move. And now we're good to go. So my next step will be to carve this out. I'll start off by hacking off as much as possible, and then I'll grind down the round bits on the belt grinder. Grinding stone. Sorry. One cut down. Metal fatigue. Okay, there's the other side. Now on to grinding. Well, you get the idea. So I've got the knife tips carved out on both pieces now, and I've taped them together just to make sure they stay aligned. I've put these 2 alignment pins in there, they're just temporarily. And now I'm going to carve them out on here, once again, just to make sure both tips are equal. One side down. There. I've got 2 symmetrical blade tips. So, on to the next phase. Now we apply some fiery goodness to the final bend on the second fork. To do it. There, that's both sides of the handle done. Now I got a third piece to do. Okay, so now that I've got my main segments cut out, I can get to work on the hinge assembly that will end up attaching right in here, and that's what's going to hold the band on. So basically all the hinge assembly is this piece of steel that I cut off of that larger piece and a hinge. And in order to fuse these together, I'm going to take some paste flux. And I'm just going to butter up this piece of steel here with the flux. And that goes on here like so. I'll just clamp that. And I'll clamp that to the table saw. Now I just hit this with some heat and apply a little bit of solder. Hopefully, I didn't fuse the hinge bolt together. Seems to be okay. So I'll just allow this to cool off. Actually, I'm going to dump it in some water and work on the next one. Now I've got two beefed up little hinges. And my next step will be to drill a small hole here for the brass bolt to go through, and that will be what allows me to cinch this thing tight. So what I'm going to do, there's my beefed up hinge, so I'm just going to drill a hole right where this hole in the hinge is, using this 7/32 of an inch bit. Okay, that's dangerous. Oh, I just bent my drill bit. Well, that sucks. Better than losing an eye, I guess. Yeah, that's not something you want happening. Luckily, I have another one. This one's just titanium instead of my cobalt one, which I just messed up. Hopefully this will be able to get through the steel. Just to be a little bit safer, I'm going to clamp this to the drill press here, because I don't want that thing flying at me at 100 kilometers an hour. Okay. catastrophic. So now I've got my 2 hinges with the nice little holes there. So now these are ready to be attached to the large zigzag shaped piece right in here. Kind of like that. So, same as before, I take a little bit of flux and I'll attach it to the back of the hinge, or adhere it, paste it, butter it, whatever you want to call it. And then that will go on here, thusly. So now I'm just about ready to braze these 2 pieces together, right in here. But before I do that, I have to sharpen the inside edge here, because once I've got it glued together, I won't be able to reach this with the grinder on both of them. So that's the next step. So the 2 halves of my handles are ready to be brazed together, but before I do that, I'm just going to cut my block of wood here in half, for the reason you will see shortly. Okay, so beneath this big mess of clamps and whatnot here is the 2 pieces of the arms of the slingshot, and I've got these brass rods running through the holes in the handle. And the reason I cut these out, whoop, where am I? Is they're going to keep the rods straight. So that way I'll know they'll be perfectly aligned when it comes time to gluing the handle on. See, I've got one block here, and that's just keeping these two parallel right across. Now I've already taken the liberty of fluxing this up in here. So now it's time to fuse them together. Since there's so many clamps on here, I'm just going to let this one cool naturally. Sorry about that. Well, so there that is, one solid chunk of metal. Now I'll just trim the little brass bits, and the next step will be to attach the V-shaped piece which goes on top here. Or, well, something like that. It needs to be trimmed a little bit, but that's basically what it's going to look like. So here it is cleaned up. I've got these brass pins shortened considerably. And now the final piece is this V-shaped section. I've cleaned up as much oxidization as possible. You can see a little bit black there. And I've also covered it in flux, as well as inside here I cleaned it off and coated it in flux. And I'll just slide this into position. It's not quite a perfect fit, but that's why we have clamps. the last piece I have to attach is the handle. As you can see, I already have one side glued on there. I use cyanoacrylate glue to attach it. And I've got the other side here. But it's a little too long. So what I'm going to do is I'll hold the slingshot like this. I'll take a pencil. But I've marked a line here, and I'll just cut that on the saw. I've intentionally made this a little bit bigger than it needs to be. That's because I want a nice tight fit in between the two shapes here. So I'll just position it on, and after a whole bunch of test fittings, I'll just file this piece down bit by bit until it's a perfect match, and then I'll glue it. Alrighty, so I've done a fair amount of work to this since you saw it last. I've sharpened the blades, polished them up, gave them a temper by just heating the sharp bits until they were red hot and then dunking it in water. I got my hardware attached here, and as you can see, I've got both sides of the handle attached, and I've done some rudimentary shaping there. And the last thing I want to do is flatten this little brass pin out, so it'll become kind of like a rivet. So you'll see this one's quite a bit wider than this one is, and that's because I've wailed on this one with a hammer until it was pretty much flush with the wood. And what happens is the metal just expands inside the hole and locks it in place. If you're wearing headphones, you might want to take them off or turn them down, because this is going to be loud. We're getting there. There. Now I'll just file it down and I can finish working on the handle. Well, this thing is now done. It's ready to have the bands attached. So here's the band set I'm using for it. It's some rather heavy-duty pallet band. And I've gone with a different attachment method this time, doing a little bit of experimenting. See, normally you've got a pouch like this, and you put your piece of rubber through each hole, and then you fold it over itself, and then you tie a piece of rubber onto that to secure it. But with this one, this is it's called the dog bone style. You don't fold it over, you just kind of place it over top of the pouch, and then you attach it. And this one looks a little bit different. It looks kind of like that. You just put your rubber on there, and then you fold it, and then tie that. And it ends up giving you a very nice, clean pouch end, and as much mass as you can take off of this end as you can really helps its performance. Now, if you look at that compared to this one, which is the hole method, it's a lot bulkier. It's probably at least 3 to 4 times more material in this connection here as there is in this one. Well, attaching the band to this particular slingshot is very easy. You just stick it in the slot here. You might need to give it a little bit of a bend, but I'll just stick it in. Squeeze that, and then tie this little, or screw this little nut tightly. We'll stick the other end in there. And screw the other nut. Finger tight is all you need with these things. So there's a tool-free pouch attachment. Took a couple seconds. And I think we're ready to test this bad boy out. And of course, shooting some beers. Nice. Just as easy as that. That little bit of work, you too can have your very own Slingblade. Thanks for watching.